Howdy and welcome to another exciting episode of Real Sith of Genius. As you can see, I'm Ranger J 1999. We've got some new looks, some new layouts, brought to you by my compatriot, my brother in arms, Finn, my man, what is going on?
Great job on setting up all this new stuff, Ranger. I know it takes a little bit of time to do it, so I'm more than happy to do the graphics when you get all this stuff working.
Yeah, can I use foul language for a moment? Is that okay?
Keep it as minimal as possible, man. We have YouTube censors to be careful about.
Let's just say certain parts of my anatomy hurt from having to put up with this stuff. Here's the thing about Finity. He comes up with the most creative stuff I've ever seen. Like this image from, if you know what this image is from, it's from Spaceballs, yeah. And so, but it's the slight little adjustments that you have to do that Finity drives me crazy with. But you know what? It looks great, so I can't really complain. So, Finn, what's been going on, man? I know we've been, both of us, I think the audience would love to hear that me and you yesterday were screaming like little girls watching the Olympics, watching the races and everything.
Oh man, yeah. Watching Michael Phelps be like the oldest gold medal winner in history just gives you a sense of pride. I know that we have people watching from all kinds of countries, not just the US, so
absolutely.
I hope you guys are rallying behind your athletes. It's a great time of year right now.
I do. I love the Olympics. I can't get enough of it, man. We got a plan at work. You know, every time you have a break and stuff, people are in there just eating that stuff up. It's a special thing. I don't know. Growing up as a kid, the Olympics were something really special and important. I mean, I guess you feel the same way about it. But I love it, man. I can't get enough Olympic stuff.
And I'll give a quick shout out here. One of our guildies, Wolfgeist, he has a friend that's actually in the Olympics.
Wow.
It's Travis Stevens. He silver medaled for the U.S. in judo.
Very
so
nice.
If he's listening, Wolfgeist, we're giving a shout out to your friend. He did a great job for the U.S. I know it might feel a little bittersweet getting silver, but silver is still a great thing, especially when it's pretty much the best we've done in that sport since it began. So great job, Travis.
Yeah, pretty amazing. So welcome. You see we got some new layouts. We're going to start getting into them. So let's just start getting going here. Been working on some things. So let's just get into it. Let's just get into what we love to talk about in that Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Let me change the music because if I hear Darth Vader say Dark Side anymore, I'm going to lose my mind. Let's get into the news. Finn, there's been some stuff come out this last week. Some pretty decent stuff. So why don't you go ahead and tell everybody what's on the news for tonight.
All right, so first thing I want to do, so we talked a little bit about the Olympics and I gave a shout out to Travis. I also want to thank all of our viewers, especially those that spend a little bit of time to comment and talk to us. We try to be active on that.
Absolutely.
And whenever you guys give us some feedback or give us some comments, we love to talk to you guys about those things. I want to give a shout out to one of our viewers, DanJan09. He actually, after our last stream, put a comment saying that EA Jesse had actually done an interview on the Galactic War Report, which is a podcast. Ranger and I try to keep up on a lot of things, but sometimes we miss some of these. And because of him, I went back and actually listened to the Galactic War Report. We had our new raid town hall last episode, and one of the things that we were discussing was how we think they would actually go ahead and implement the new raids. Well, in that interview, EA Jesse went ahead and told the podcast that everyone should be getting ready to decide where they want to spend their guild bank coins, because they will have to decide between the Raid Corps and the AAT raid. Which, if they don't change their mind before they send it out, it's going to be an unfortunate decision, I think.
Didn't we just talk about this? I mean, don't they listen to us?
I wish they'd listen to us.
What in the wide world of sports are they thinking? I mean, honestly, that's just crazy. So, if you're working on Han Solo, I hope you're in a guild that'll keep on working, because you're going to have to pick between the two raids. And I don't know what the rewards are going to be for the new raid. That's kind of crazy. I mean, I'm trying to think positive about this. What positive outcome can we say about them doing what EA Jesse is saying they're going to do? I mean, I can't think of anything. I'm trying, but I can't really grasp and think what that might be.
The one thing that I will say is that we don't have a lot of details about this raid.
That's true.
Now, it's possible that certain things may happen that will make this not as bad as it seems. So, right now, Rancor provides two things for most of its players, which is raid gear, which are the furnaces, droid collars, scanners, and discs, and the other thing is Han Solo shards.
Yeah.
When we go into the new raid, the thing that we're going to get for sure, it looks like, is mods. So that's going to be kind of the equivalent of the raid gear.
Yeah.
You will probably still get guild currency, and you can use guild currency to go ahead and buy raid gear. So while you're not getting as much, you're still able to acquire that.
Yeah.
So, like you mentioned, the thing that you're missing is going to be the Han Solo shards. It is possible that Han Solo shards will be provided from the AAT tank raid as well.
I hope
that
so.
It would be nice, but I think most people, just because of the fact that they've shown that there's an R2-D2 getting ready to be released.
That's what I said in the previously. Remember, I said they were going to drop that R2 in that one.
And if they do that, then they have a problem.
No, they're going to have to move Han Solo to either guild currency, or not guild currency, but in the guild store or somewhere else where people can get it, because you're going to have a lot of people that are pretty close. I mean, I'm almost at 6 stars with them, but that would really suck. I mean, oh my God.
What you're saying is exactly what they would have to do, which is they would have to make Han Solo accessible through other means, most likely still within the guild raid concept, so guild shipments would be a good fit for him. But whether or not they actually plan on doing that, I have no clue.
I can't tell you either. Jeez. So we'll wait and see kind of what happens with that. I mean, that's something else, man. We'll see what happens.
Just to EA and CG, if anybody is listening to this stream, please be careful when you release the new raid. You still have a lot of people out there that are on the fence about all of these mod changes and different things going on. If you make it so they have to pick between two raids where they want something like a Han Solo shard and it's not accessible anywhere else, you are going to get, unfortunately, more people leaving. And this game, I think, has a lot of potential. It's already met some of its potential and is doing really well, I think, overall. But big screw-ups like that, where you could easily ask the community, you could get certain people, certain guilds. I mention us because, I mean, we're the ones streaming, so we always mention the Mighty Sai, but
yeah,
you could even go to a guild like Team Instinct in order to get like a pay-to-play view. You could get one of our guilds, which is a little bit more free-to-play oriented. Get some different opinions before coming out with something, because I don't want to see more people leaving this game. It caused chaos with guilds. Some guilds are still reeling and trying to fill up spots because of the mod exodus that a lot of players did. So please make sure that you at least get some opinions from people in the community and not just developers and your QA department, because unfortunately the past has kind of proven that isn't always the best way to go about things.
I agree 100%. All right, so what else we got on the agenda on the news?
So this is kind of a sad thing now. Last week, again, we gave credit to Capital Games and EA for putting out an update beforehand, so that players had an idea about what changes were coming, and if there's anything big, we could go ahead and prepare for it. The concept was great. I still like the fact that they put it out there.
I do too.
But turns out that they probably forgot the most important change from the notes.
Just a little wee bit tiny, just a little bit of a forgetful thing there, lad.
The funniest thing is that like EA Jesse had no clue. So shortly after the update went live, people were posting about how defense is all crazy and Stormtrooper Han is just not taking that much damage, and Rey's damage is like 3,000 to 4,000 less than it was beforehand, and 88 and 86 were doing nothing, and how droid teams were all screwed up now. EA Jesse, this was on a Friday, EA Jesse came out and said he'll talk to the developer team to see what's going on because there was nothing in the notes, so he didn't know anything about it. Then came out this week and said that there was a change to the defense calculations, that strength actually had more of an impact on defense now.
Just a little bit, yeah.
It was intended to be this way, but they fixed it. But they forgot to put it in the notes. Probably the biggest change of that entire update, and it wasn't in the notes.
I don't know how that happens.
I mean, I understand mistakes will happen, and missing things. I remember when I was doing coding, and not nearly to the level as like CG is, but I remember when I was doing coding for games and stuff, and you're trying to keep a log of updates. Sometimes you forget to include some when you have to like make a separate document in order to update things.
Well, yeah, people make mistakes, but that's
to forget the biggest thing. Seriously,
because I remember. Because the team I'm running, it was interesting because the team I'm running is Anakin, Han, Rogue Guard, Rey, and Qui-Gon Jinn. And you said something to me. I hadn't really noticed it, right? Maybe because of the team setup I'm running. But I hadn't really noticed it. Plus, I had Han and everybody modded out, right? So it really wasn't registering until you said something. And then I went in there and looked at it again. And I was like, holy crap, he's right. She still hits the same. However, their defense and everything that's on them is more, so it's significantly less damage. Like, if you hit Rey on anybody that's not a tank, she still rocks. But against the tank, she was, because of their defensive capabilities, she really was not doing as much damage. It was insane, and I just don't know how you not put that out.
Yeah,
I mean, I know PvP is not your thing anymore, but it is for me because I try to be number one.
I'm still top 20ing. I'm just not trying to get number 1, but I'm still top 20.
Well, if you're not trying, you're not trying. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, brother. You should be going for number 1 every day. You're representing the mighty side.
I like having my dinner time.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. Real life game, real life game, real life. You know, you know. Actually, let me pull up the characters. We can look at that real quick. So,
yeah,
like here's
let me
my
just give for those of you that are listening that aren't really sure exactly what we are talking about. There are characters that have strength, and they have that there's 3 predominant kind of stats. It's going to be strength, agility, and intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And they all determine a few different things throughout your character. What they changed was that strength was previously calculated to a certain degree in order to give your character armor bonus, which will then increase the percentage of any attack that you will ignore. So, for example, Stormtrooper Han has his defense percentage. When your armor goes up, that percentage goes up, which means that a greater percentage of any attack is then ignored. There's also the critical chance one, but that's a little bit different.
Right.
But what happened is that characters that had a lot of strength had a change to their calculations.
Yes, it did.
Armor. So you increase your armor, so then you increase the percentage of an attack you ignore, which then decreases the amount of effect Rey has on that character. So essentially what happened is that any character that is using an abundance of Mark III Carbanti just got a huge boost to their armor. And I have a lot of tanky characters, and I still need a lot of Mark III Carbantis, but those are the characters that are primarily gotten the boost. So it's not all of them. They all got a boost, but to some of them it was only like 0.5%, 0.25%, 1%. Yeah. But characters like Stormtrooper Han, Royal Guard, Old
any
Ben,
tank.
Yeah, any kind of tank that needs a lot of Mark III Carbantes, because if you look at those, so I'm including then the stun guns and the thermal detonators. Those characters, all those items, all require Carbantes, which gives you a 25 increase in strength.
Yep.
So all of those increased your armor. You guys can go to SWGOH.gg and then look by the armor if you want to see the characters that utilize those a lot, just to see if your character was one of them that maybe got affected a lot.
I mean, my Royal Guard is a beast now. It's ridiculous.
Dude, my old Ben is just nuts.
Oh, he's a pain in the ass now, man. He really is. I'll be 5-on-1 and I'll take a whole minute, even on auto, to kill that turd. Like, Ben got old ODB, old dirty bastard on us. I mean, my goodness. I mean, it's like dodge, 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 hit, dodge, 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 hit, dodge, dodge. It's like, God in heaven. I mean, I know he's a popular character.
Now, his armor's up.
I know, but he's sitting there doing his wet noodle hit all over the place on you, man. It's like, because every time you dodge, turn meter's like, dodge, dodge, he hits, nothing. Dodge, dodge, he hits again. You hit him a couple times, then dodge, dodge. It's like, oh, it's a nightmare. I mean, he's not I mean, if you do auto, but you can see I just pulled up the PvP, kind of see some of the teams that people are running right now. I'm really liking PvP now. People are diversifying a little bit. You can see I'm number 2. I was number 1, but you can see one team's running the Wedge group. It's a pain in the ass team. I've beaten it, but it can beat me, mainly because of my setup with Anakin, Royal Guard, Han, Rey, and Qui-Gon. But that Wedge team is something else. It's really effective team. But you can see, like, in my shard, you can see people running different setups, just in the top 4 here, what we're running. So I like that it's starting to diversify a little bit with characters. I mean, that's something I've noticed. Now that we're past some of the mischief and everything that's been going on, I really like it. Okay, so what's that?
That team that you're mentioning with the Biggs, Wedge, and Lando, it's causing all kinds of discussion on the forums.
I know, people are always saying it's OP and all this other crap. It's like, look, man, no team is OP. I'm going to put this out there right now. No character is OP. It's how you use it, okay? It's that simple, okay? If you understand how a team works, you can beat any team in this game, okay? So I don't want to hear it. There's nothing is overpowered right now. It's actually pretty balanced, you know? I even think that with the strength improvements, that tanks are what they are, tanks. So you have to usually have the right form of characters that can get past that, you know? So quit your bitching, seriously. Because I read on the forums, somebody was bitching about Lando today, and I was like, why are you complaining about Lando? He is not an overpowered character. His speed's not that great. Now, if he's in the right setup, yeah. If you're just going to let Lando sit there and AoE you to death, you should lose the match. I'm just saying, you know. So understand priority is what the ticket is. So I digress. So
yeah, and there was a post on the forum, so I'll just credit it to Zoe ZOOEY.
Wait a minute. I think we have someone looking to get in here.
Yeah, we do.
The great bearded one himself, Grande Bertrana, i.e. Gandalf the dirty beard, is in the channel. My goodness, what's going on, Grande Bertrana?
Man, it's just another day in Disneyland, let me tell you. And,
pretty much.
It's good to be alive. Good to see some changes in the game. I was really frustrated for about a day and a half with the changes in strength, and then I just said, you know what, this is going to be good. This makes more characters viable. I got to tell you, there are some amazing teams now that are working.
It's fun.
It didn't work before. I think, I love it that you're seeing more guys running Anakin. You're seeing more guys running clones.
Yeah.
Running, you're seeing some of that stuff. I think that's way cool. I like seeing all that stuff. So I'm actually very pleased about it.
Absolutely. So have you heard a little bit of what we've been talking about, my friend?
I have.
Any comments?
I guess just besides the besides the change that we got, I wish we had kind of known about that change just a tad earlier, or that it had been in the notes that were released on the 5th rather than seeing it on the 8th. But you know what? At least they're communicating, even if it's a smidge late.
Yeah.
So I will take what I can get. More communication is better than less communication.
Yeah.
Even if it's a smidge late. And you know what? Everybody makes a few mistakes like that. So it's kind of no big deal.
Yeah. We'll give him a pass. You know, a boo-boo was made. Yeah.
And I just feel like that I'm liking the changes to the game that have been made. I'm liking some of the character synergies that you're seeing. You're finally seeing. I've been. We got a couple of guys like Dutch from Team Skunk Omega. He's running that Biggs Wedge combo together, and it is looking really sweet. Way sweeter than I thought it would look. So I'm glad to see they're like two buddies, it's like two buddies, they're like tag, you remember like the old WWE, it's like WWE tag team buddies. It's like a tag team match. That's what it reminds me of whenever I see it. So I'm pretty pleased with that. You got a question here in your chat. It says, what does the strength change make health and defense mods more viable?
Yes.
I had the same question when I first looked at it. I think it does.
Yeah, it does.
Potentially make defense mods more viable. I think health mods were already
viable.
We're already viable, and the reason is because the mods are giving you so much protection that
I'll pull it up. I gotta show you.
The protection bar was like a big old fat sandwich.
I beat the Jedi one, and I started getting defensive mods, and I tell you, they're pretty nice. Like, I just got this one. I had to max it out, but look at that, 19% protection, health.
Yeah,
that's insane. Plus, when you add them all together, with the bonuses and stuff, it's worth it. Defensive mods are worth. All the mods are worth it. The only one I really don't think yet will be worth it is tenacity. But I think the potency mods are going to be very key. I'm almost done with my Empire team. I'm going to clear that this week, hopefully. I got to get one more character up, and then.
That's interesting that you mentioned that you're not a big fan of the tenacity mod. I've actually cleared that challenge with the Rebels already. At 3-starred it.
Mm-hmm.
I can think of a few characters that you want really high tenacity on.
You mean tanks?
Characters that you want. Characters that I think that you want really high tenacity on. Characters that hit like crud with their basic, but have an amazing special, so they won't get ability blocked.
That's true.
So the characters that I put a lot of, that I said, okay, I want tenacity on, were characters like Old Ben. I want speed on Old Ben, so he can get his ability block off, but I also don't want him to get ability blocked, so he can put his ability block on. If that makes sense. So I've put quite a bit of tenacity and speed on my Old Ben, just because that's what I thought would be a good choice.
Yeah, you can't go wrong. This is a good thing. It gives you a lot of options and stuff. So,
my question has kind of been though, is it better to get 3 of the same set bonus, or is it better to get at least 2 different set bonuses?
I like 2, depending on.
I'm kind of with you. Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that.
Finn, what do you think?
It depends on the character.
I agree 1,000% on that as well.
I want to go back a quick second, though, with regards to the question that was asked.
Sure.
I still don't think defense mods are viable.
Really? Okay.
Because if you think about how much... So, remember that it's upgrading the defense percentage, not your armor. The strength bonus affects your armor, which then calculates into defense. The bonuses are only going to give you, even maxed out, 5%. If Rey is going to hit you for 16,000, that's 160 damage that you're worried about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's that much of an effect. Now, strength increases health directly. I think health is still going to be the primary mod just to make sure you don't get one-shotted. And then it's all about the stats, because the stats are more powerful than the set bonuses. It's really stupid.
I would agree with you there. The actual stats of the mod are better. So, you take a mod that has, you can get, for example, plus, let's call it in the speed slot, which is slot 2, the arrow slot, you can get plus 30 speed. And if you take a character, let's take a character that's not slow but not fast, like Phasma, for example, and Phasma has a speed of like 151. Well, if you put a 30 speed, just a 30 speed on, that's a 20% increase in speed, right? Because it's 1/5 of the speed. So that a 20% increase in speed is better than what you're going to get from the set bonuses, because the best speed bonus you can get is put 4 on there and get plus 10% speed. So one mod, just one mod, not even a set bonus mod, just one mod is better than putting 4 speed mods on your character. That's crazy.
It is.
There's a lot of really cool stuff to think about with mods, and that that's just one of them. So who knows? I mean, I know a bunch of people are going for the Jawa mod, the one that gives you whatever it is, crit damage. That gives you 30% crit damage. That's the only one that's not like a 5%, 2%, 10% one. So maybe that one we might treat a little differently. What do you think, Finity?
I mean, you can. I'm still not entirely convinced.
We'll see. We'll just have to play around with them. So, as I get my game reloaded here, it was acting funky. I don't know what was going on.
Funky monkey, huh?
It's a little funky, drunken monkin'.
So 80 grade Screwball says we answered his question.
Awesome.
We appreciate you, 80 grade Screwball, watching the show. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. All right.
And I have to point out, Grande's been saying all kinds of nice things about the games and all the updates, and he hasn't said a single thing about the changes to our stream. I'm just pointing that out.
Well, first of all, I love seeing the face reveal of Master Ranger J90 1999. That's pretty sweet. It's always cool whenever you get to see the face of your buddies. And I will let you know he is also a bearded wonder like myself, so that's always a nod in the affirmative.
Yes.
It's looking really smooth. It's sounding really smooth. Before I jumped in here with you guys, you could hear a little bit of music in the background. I thought it sounded great. But I've always said, I've said it to you guys in private. I'll say it in perfect. Your visuals on your stream are the best that I've seen of anybody that's doing streams on SWGOH, and that is legit.
Well, thank you for those kind words. I can't take any credit for the look of the stream. That's all Finity.
Oh man, you're the one that puts it all together on the stream.
That's true, but my goodness, the guy's like, I always just have a moment where it's like, all right, he's taking a shower. He may have, get ready, he might have some ideas. So, that's the way it works, man.
That is unfortunately true.
All right, what's next? What's next there, Fanata?
All right, so,
any other news or?
So there is one other thing that's come up a decent bit in the forums lately. It's regarding the mods. Again, more mod discussion, but a little bit different than what we talked about in the past. Mod shipments now have a lot of the 5-dot mods available, and they're costing a lot of crystals. So if you look at it, I'm going to open my head. If you
they cost a lot. The credits are insane as well.
Yeah. So if you're looking, like a 5-dot mod can go, I don't know if you have it open Ranger, it can go anywhere to like 2,000, 3,000 crystals.
Yeah.
So there are two different things to kind of think about. And like, how much is a player going to spend in order to get a mod? So that's one thing to consider. The other thing to consider is what is a reasonable price based on what's going on in the game.
What is a reasonable price?
So what I will say though, and we're going into another little math session with Finity here. Pricing is actually fairly accurate.
Really?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's right on.
So I completely disagree. And this is funny because I'm the one that spends a bunch of money, and Ranger spends some money, but Affinity spends no real money in the game. So I want to hear both sides of this. But I think this is very strange that we're coming on this.
Okay, go ahead, Finn. I'll let you start us off.
So let's look at what mods most people will want to buy. You're not going to buy Mark 1. You're not going to buy Mark 2. You're not going to probably buy 3 or 4. You're going to be aiming for the Mark 5, probably quality A, so you can get the best stats, right? You're going to try to get that one particular stat that you want. Let's look at one of them that probably is the one that most people will want to chase, which is going to be the Arrow mod that has plus speed on it, right?
Yes.
So, first off, you're going to be doing the tier challenge, right? So, with the tier challenge, you have, we'll go with the 40% because they said it's going to be more than the shard drop rate, the character shard in Cantina, which is about 33%. So, let's give it 40% here, okay?
Okay.
So, you have a 40% chance of getting a mod, right? And you have, even though it's probably going to be less, you have about a 1 in 3 chance, if all things are equal, to get a Mark 5 mod, right?
Okay.
Okay. Then let's look at the next thing, which is going to be to try and get the primary, right? So now you're looking at the primary on an Arrow. The Arrow has, I believe, 7 different options, right? So now you have an additional 1 in 7 chance of actually getting your actual primary stat, right? So now you have to get a quality A, which is another 1 in 5 chance. Okay, so you have a 40% chance of a drop times a 1 out of 3 chance of getting the Mark 5, a 1 in 7 chance of getting the right primary stat, and then the actual
primary. Right, which
and
is
then
another
you have a 1 out of
6.
5 to get the quality A. Okay, that is a 0.38% chance of getting your mod. You with me so far, Grande?
That's not good odds.
I'm with you so far. We haven't even talked about set bonuses yet.
Oh yeah, don't even worry about the set bonuses. We're just worrying about getting one piece right now.
Right, fair enough. Set bonus you sort of have control over, so we'll kind of leave that one aside.
Yeah. Okay, so let's make it. So now you have a 0.38% chance of getting it. How many times do you have to actually run the actual battle to get that particular mod? Right?
So, yes.
So you just do 1 divided by that amount. You're looking at 262 runs in order to get that mod that you're looking at in the shipments. Now, this isn't just to get any random one. You're looking for specific mods, specific stats when you're doing that. Right? So, and I think I'm echoing.
You sound good on my end.
Are you echoing?
Okay. If I'm echoing, let me know in the stream. I don't know why it's echoing in my ear. But in any case, so now you have the actual...
Yeah, you are echoing. I hear you.
Yeah, I think I'm echoing from Grande then if you can't hear me.
I will turn myself down.
All right. So the next thing will be to now you have 262 runs. That's going to cost 16 energy per run, right? In Cantina energy.
Okay.
Did you lose Grande?
No, he's still there.
Still here.
Oh, okay. All right. So now you have about, let's see, buy all of these things together. You have 4,200 Cantina energy that you need. Right?
Okay.
So now if you do a single refresh every day, you're looking at 17 days of getting that particular mod. And 17 days of that times 100 crystals each day, you're now looking at 1,750 crystals over 17 days in order to get it. Versus 2,000 crystals in order to get it without having to do all the runs.
Right, based on the fact that you would have to potentially refresh or just wait time to have it show up in your mod shipments correctly. So interesting.
I forgot a variable, actually. My bad. There's actually another variable. You have a 1 in 6 chance of actually getting the arrow because in the challenges you can't pick the shape.
Yeah.
Oh, you actually have. Sorry about that. So now you actually have to multiply it by another 1 in 6 chance. So now it's a 0.06% chance. You have to do 1,575 runs. That requires 25,000 Cantina energy now, which if you do a refresh a day is 105 days, which means that you have to spend 10,500 crystals.
There is a good point. Too old to die young now says, yeah, but what about all the other stuff you get from the runs? The other potential thing is that you only need 5 characters times 6, so you only need about 30 mods. Even if you kind of put it all together, we figured out what's the minimum number of characters you really need mods on to be competitive everywhere but the mod challenges, and it's around 11 characters. So even if you said it's 11 characters, it's 11 times 6. So you only need 66 mods that are what you want for each character. And of those mods, since that you're also taking the worst potential mod for the slots 1, 3, and 5, which is the square, the diamond, and the circle, you have a better chance of getting the mod you want in those particular spots. So it is possible that you're really only farming, quote unquote, farming for the arrow, the triangle, and the cross. And then the other thing too is that are you really looking for perfect substats, or are you just looking for okay substats? I don't know. I can tell you right now, I am not looking for perfect substats.
No. If you're looking at secondary stats, you're out of your mind or you have way too much money. No, yeah. Honestly. Chasing secondary stats is a way of just losing all your progress in this game. Chasing primary stats on the challenges is a different thing also. So what you're asking for about...
I would make one exception to that, which is chasing the substat of speed would probably be okay.
Even then, how are you going to chase the substat? You're going to have to... So there's different ways, right? Each mod will have 4 secondary stats. Unless you get a quality A, you have no idea what the secondary stat is.
It's not true that every mod will have 4 secondaries. Some mods can only have 3 secondaries if one of their secondaries doubles up.
Right. So, but yeah.
I have yet to see one. I have yet to see a mod with only 2 secondaries. It's possible it's out there. I just haven't seen it yet.
But yeah, okay. So there's 4 different, not different. So there's 4 stats that you can get in secondary with an overlap, right? So you can get less than that. But unless you have a quality A, you don't know what all the secondary stats are.
Correct.
Which means that every time you get a quality B, you have to level it up in order to figure out what that other stat is, or you might be throwing away a speed. Quality C, you have to level it up. So now you're wasting credits in order to chase the secondary stat too.
Yeah, I get your point. What the question that too old to die young now is saying is, what about all the other stuff you get from making runs on the mod challenges, which are credits, purple mats, greens, blues, and cantina credits.
So here would be my argument for that then. So if you look at all of the numbers, right? So you have a 40%, so just to go again really quick, it's a 40% chance of the mod dropping. It's a 1 in 6 chance that you get the arrow. It's a 1 in 3 chance that you're actually going to get a Mark 5 instead of a Mark 4 or 3. It's a 1 in 7 chance that you get the speed mod, or the speed primary stat. And it's a 1 in 5 chance that you get a quality A, right? So you're looking for the best mod. Ranger, do you have one of those up right now on your shipment?
He's leveling a mod right now, it looks like.
Yeah, I've been in the mods. I go back to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just in the mod shipments. I don't know if it's up. I'll check mine also in my game. It costs somewhere around 2,500 crystals in order to buy that one.
Which is effectively $10.
Right. But if you look at how long it would take you to actually get this mod, right, if you actually tried to farm it, right? So it's going to require 1,575, so 1,575 runs in order to get this one particular mod, okay? That's going to require 25,000 Cantina energy, which if you only do one refresh a day, is going to take 105 days, and therefore is going to take 10,000 crystals. So you're asking about all of the other stuff that you can get from runs. Instead of spending 10,000 crystals on mod battles, you can then spend 2,000 in order to buy it, and then spend 7,000 on Cantina runs and actually get shards of characters that you need, so you're not stifled in character progression.
You're basing it on the fact that it's going to be your last run in mod challenges where you get the mod you want. And it may
just percentage wise
may not be that, and we're also basing them that all drops are the same, and I'm not sure all drops are the same. I've noticed arrows tend to drop more, at least for me they do. The ones that I seem to be short on are the cross mod.
See, I have a ton of those and can't get the arrow ones.
So it seems like so I'm not sure if all drops of all mods in every slot is equal. We're making a few assumptions here.
Yeah.
But I don't. Anyway, I don't. That would be my argument. My argument would be the same as Too Old to Die Young. First of all, I'm not a big buyer of anything with crystals, except for energy, whether it's Cantina energy or it's light side, dark side energy. I hoard crystals on every other item. I don't typically buy items the top tier of shipments. Even whenever it comes up as a raid piece, there have been a few times I have done that, but it's rare. For the most part, I am relying on RNG because of all the extra stuff I get, whether it's purple mats, which I need a ton of still. I still do not have every one of my 7 stars.
Who does?
Purple matted up, and
Seth Wells.
The credits which I need. So basically, it's because of every other resource that I get for those crystals. That's the reason why I run that. And John's in the chat. Hey, John, glad to see you.
Howdy.
I think it's 2 different ways. It's 2 different ways to run the game, and I think it's going to take a while before I think that we find out. And I will agree too with 80 grade Screwball. He says that he highly doubts that grade A mods have the same drop rate as the other grades. I will tell you, I have seen very few grade A mods drop out of the challenges.
Which is the other point, yeah. I'm assuming all things are equal. I'm gonna assume that Mark 5 will drop less than 4 and 3, but just in order to do the calculations, I assumed even across the board. But
now that
if you,
yeah. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go right ahead with the rest of your statement.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, because I'm assuming all things are equal, I'm doing a comparison just in terms of the crystals and which it would cost. But obviously, if Mark 3 or if Mark 5 are going to drop a little bit less, or quality A's aren't going to be, that actually increases the worth of buying the mod shipments buying the mods from the shipments if there's one in particular you're chasing. So to go back with what Too Old to Die Young now said, this is about chasing one particular mod, not for gearing up all of your characters. This is specifically if you are looking for that speed arrow mod in order to make sure that your ray is faster than the opposing ray in arena, so you can get that first hit and then you don't lose the match. Like, that's where mod shipments really, really fits in, is when you're chasing a particular mod, not when you're trying to gear up all of your characters. In that case, you're just better off farming challenges because you need all of the different mods. Now, the one argument I would make with regards to challenges for that, you only need 5, maybe 6 full sets of any mod challenge set for your PvP squad. After that, for just raids and just regular things in PvE, I really don't think that challenges are worth it. You can get just as much out of most of the Mark 1 and 2 that you get from battles, and then you don't have to spend as much.
That's another good point that you're making, which is, if you look at the percentages, some of those percentages are like 2 or like 1, 2.88, 4, 5.88 or something. I mean, it's like they don't jump that much, and you spend a ton of credits. I'm running my T-bow with some 1-dot mods for the raid, just because I those 1-dot mods were better than the 5-dot mods, and I didn't want to spend all the credits on a character that I use basically in GW and basically for the raids, and that's it. And so you basically you're making choices based on what the game has given you, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much.
Kind of what you're saying as well, right, Finity?
Yeah, and kind of what Too Old to Die Now Young says, or Too Old to Die Young Now. Sorry, I said it backwards at the end. He's saying that since there's no alpha team, that he would just take the 105 and just farm a bunch of credits and mods and whatnot. It depends also on your roster. There is no way I would recommend anybody that doesn't have an RG, an Old Ben, a GS, working now because of the new raid, and I'm a Gundy, a Jedi and Knight Anakin, you have Ayla. There's so many different characters that have so much versatility in this game. To think that you're just farming mods, most of which you're just going to sell, seems kind of ridiculous, especially over 105 days. Because if you actually think about the time that you're spending, you can almost get 2 full characters during that same time period. So that's basically what you're sacrificing in order to chase a mod. And that's one of the problems with the system anyways, is that the drop rate isn't 100%, they haven't increased the Cantina energy. You are being asked to either go after a mod or sacrifice characters, which is really silly.
I'm kind of with you. To me, the character makes more sense. Typically, I run for the character most of the time, and then once I've got the character I want, I go back to 3 and level up mods on whichever challenge I'm working on, and then work those couple of characters. Like I'm kind of with I've been working a few different ones at the moment. I've been working the Empire one, just like how Ranger is, and then I've also been working the Scoundrel one. Which, by the way, I was able to finish the credit heist tier 2 today, which was the first time I was ever able to do that, which made a huge difference for me.
Huge.
As far as being able to do that, and so I'm looking at the potency mods. I'm looking at the offense. The critical chance mods, and then potentially I'll be probably transitioning over either to the speed mods next. Just trying to unlock them, and then you end up with so many mods and not enough credits, and you're like, let's just do a little bit for now and not go crazy about it, I guess.
Yeah.
Everything in moderation has kind of been my mantra.
No way. I like to do it all at once.
The other thing too is we have to make, potentially we're going to be looking at mods that are 6-dot mods or 7-dot mods potentially coming into the new raid.
Yeah.
I mean, and potentially going back into the Rancor raid. So if that's the case, is it all for naught on these 5-dots, and it ends up being hand-me-down clothes, and you end up handing those mods down to someone else because you get a better mod? I don't know the answer to that, but it's all things you have to
it's crazy.
In a way.
Man, it's crazy, say, man. All right, I think we've beaten that one to death. Holy, but Jesus.
Sorry.
No, nothing to apologize about.
You're fun now, Ranger.
No, let's. So what's the next item on the agenda? I think you're gonna like this one, Grande Patrona.
Absolutely. What is it?
Aha, go ahead, Finn.
This is the new character now. This is Ranger's domain now.
So because you started this last week with Wicket, or 2 weeks ago with Wicket. So let's get into it, man, and start us off.
So a couple streams ago, we made the Wicket character because of the Star Wars Celebration and the fact that they showed it, and we decided, you know what, after last week when we had a discussion about Star Wars Rebels, that, you know what, let's start getting Star Wars Rebels characters into the game. So let's start to make these characters. So today we're starting off with Ezra Bridger.
Absolutely.
On the screen you can see a bit of his description. I'll let Ranger go into this because he is the man when it comes to all of this.
Yeah, the lore-wise. So,
by the way,
what's that, Grande?
I said I'm super stoked about this. By the way.
Oh yeah. So, spoilers. If you haven't seen Rebels, I'm sorry. Then pause the stream, skip ahead. I might hit a spoiler or not trying to do with each of these characters. But if you haven't seen Rebels, I highly suggest you go watch Rebels. It's a phenomenal show. It comes on Disney XD. They just announced that it'll be launching September 24th. They're changing it to Saturday nights. So I'm super stoked about that. So let's talk about a little bit about who Ezra Bridger is. So in the show, he's a young man that they find the crew on this planet. I can't remember the name of their planet, but basically he's an orphan. His parents had been taken away by the Empire, hates the Empire. Now he comes aboard, typically to the Ghost Crew. One of the other characters, Kanan, is one of the last Jedi that survived Order 66. He can tell immediately that Ezra's Force sensitive, and through the show he becomes his Padawan. Now they're getting ready to launch season 3, so he will not look like he is on the screen. We debated a little bit if we should change his look to that. We might still do that. We may upgrade his stats because Ezra's story is pretty significant. But he is a character that the Ghost Crew becomes his family. He's very, very protective, mainly because he lost his family. And he's exceptionally brave. He's exceptionally cunning. Gets in trouble sometimes, but he's young, and that's going to happen. So Ezra's one of those really incredible characters that, if you guys have seen the season 2 finale, him and Darth Maul, you can see that the dark side is tugging at him. Ezra's a pretty powerful force user. I mean, he can control animals. He can do a lot of stuff already at an early age, and the more training he gets, from season 2, he's really starting to start coming into his own. And it's really funny how his story mirrors Anakin Skywalker's a little bit, in the sense that they both have loss. They fear losing their friends, and they don't want that to happen. And he's hell-bent on getting the power he needs to defeat the Empire. But that's kind of where we started with his abilities. He's very loyal to the crew. He's very loyal to the rebels, or the resistance. And he's one of those characters that really good supporting attacker. He's definitely an attacker. So why don't we go into some of the abilities that we came up with that we would use for Ezra. And the good thing is we're going to do one of these a week. We're going to break down each of the rebel characters. We also, if you can see, we put light side rebel, ghost crewman, scoundrel, attacker. Now the cool thing about Ezra is, one thing I was talking about Finn is, like, I think he might go a little bit of dark side this season. And if it does, wouldn't it be cool to have a light side character and a dark side character that you could use on both sides, because he's pulled to both ways. So that's something that we were thinking about. But say, well, let's wait for season 3 to kind of play out a little bit, because we don't really have any facts on him yet about season 3. So based off that, we came up with what we thought would be his core abilities. We didn't do any stats or anything like that, but this is his core abilities. So why don't you break those down a little bit, Finn?
All right. So, it's all of his abilities are kind of scrolling on the screen here, but I'll go ahead and read them kind of one by one, so you guys can follow along. One of the things that you guys might notice is the Ghost Crewman. So that is one of the new factions that we have made now to introduce Star Wars Rebels. All of these characters, like Ezra, is still a rebel, but we figured that he needs something different. He's not just a rebel, he needs something in order, like Ranger was saying, he's all about his friends, so we needed something that actually emphasized that he is protective of his friends specifically. So there is going to be some Ghost Crewman synergies that we're going to start making as we get more characters involved. And I saw the message from 80 Grade Screwball. We will be working on Thrawn at some point, so don't worry about that.
We're going to be doing Thrawn. We're also going to do the new characters coming up and speculate on the new Rogue One characters as well.
Yep. So starting off with his basic ability, being as how he isn't a fan of the Empire, his basic attack is expected to do maybe around 4,500 damage from what we were saying. So we're just giving kind of the averages, not the whole general range, but on average probably around 4,500 damage. Simple, it deals physical damage to target enemy. If the target enemy is an Empire enemy, this deals an additional 100% more to damage. So kind of along the same lines as many characters now, he is more specific with Empires though, as that fits his backstory much better than other ones. We made him a 3 ability character, so he has a basic, a special, and a unique. His special is an AoE attack called Hold Them Off. It deals physical damage to all characters, roughly about 3,500, and will remove 30% of turn meter. And against Empire characters, it will remove an additional 20% turn meter. So a lot of these, by the way, we're keeping in line with the game. We use a lot of the current characters in order to get a little bit of inspiration to make sure that it still kind of fits within the game and it's realistic that these might actually be usable.
Yes.
So the last ability is a unique, which is his passive ability. It's when any ally is attacked, Ezra has a 100% chance to gain offense. So these are level 8, by the way. So as you level it up, and then this one, ultimately, when you Omega it, it becomes a 100% chance. But when an ally is attacked, Ezra has a 100% chance to gain offense up until the end of his next turn. If the attacked ally is a Ghost Crewman, so now you see a little bit of the synergy, he has a 50% chance to gain 100% turn meter. So like Ranger was saying, it's a little bit kind of like Anakin, right? Where Anakin gets it all based on the allies and he can gain turn meter. So Ezra is kind of fitting into that same little mold.
A little bit different.
A little bit different. More Ghost Crewman, more Rebelish.
Absolutely. So looking at this, Grandi, what's your initial thoughts?
I want to see the Rebel characters, the cartoon show characters, real bad.
Who doesn't?
I just think it's cool because it's going to add a whole nother dimension. It potentially would add another tribal synergy. And I like what you guys have done with it because it does sort of, parallel maybe an Anakin story, or it does sort of parallel maybe a Luke story. And so having him be a little bit conflicted as far as light side, dark side, I think is super cool. I hope CG is taking notes. That's all I'm saying.
Well, we always say that anything we do in this game, they should make real. Even though we know they didn't listen to us, there's been some stuff implemented that we're going to take credit for. Even though we didn't have anything to do with it whatsoever. So I thought this would be a cool little thing. We're going to do one of these every week, all the way up into the Rogue One launch. We're going to do the Rebels characters first because season 3 starts September 24th, so we should have all the Rebels characters and Thrawn. We'll see how many we can get in before Rebels starts, but we're going to do those. Maybe even after Rebels starts, we'll do the Rebels characters, and then as we start getting closer to Rogue One, we'll do the Rogue One. Some of them we won't have to do because, Vader's already in there, Grand Moff Tarkin, so, we don't have to really update their information, maybe. But there will be some new Empire characters, like Chiswick and some other ones that we can do on the Empire side. Death Trooper. We can do Death Trooper and add that in there. So we'll break all those down. So let us know what you guys think about this. Just to open up the discussion. I can't see the chat right now, so is anybody saying anything in chat, Grande or Finn?
Duncan was saying that he thinks he needs a stun on his first ability because his lightsaber has stun guns attached to it.
Mm-hmm. Could do that.
And I do remember. I do remember when I was looking into the character a little bit, he had the slingshot at the beginning, so I was thinking that we might.
Yeah, his
lightsaber.
His lightsaber is actually a gun. This one that you're looking at right now. He can shoot and stun people with it. So we could probably incorporate another attack where Ezra shoots a target and has a certain % chance to stun. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah. So what we will do, by the way, is after the stream in the description of our stream here. I'm going to put a link to the image. I'm going to post it up on our website as soon as we're done here. And you guys will be able to look at it, give us some feedback. You can give us feedback in the stream or comment on the webpage, but we'll put it up to share. So we'd love to hear more comments like that. So Duncan's is a great one. And yeah, please keep them coming.
Awesome.
I think you have a little idea about where we're going next with all the crewman faction now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we got that out to the public. We'll actually separate this and put that out there for you guys to look. What's next on the agenda there, Finn? Is that all the agenda items? Is it time for Q&A and stuff?
Yeah, now time for any questions that you guys have watching the stream, or Grande, if you have any questions for us.
Grande's still in shock we did that.
I know.
I'm so shocked that you passed it over to me. Yeah. I'm just kind of stoked about the new raid, kind of wanting to see when that comes out. I will say that I do like seeing the changes that they've made, like for example to PvP. I'm pretty excited about that. As far as the strength is concerned. Other than those items, I guess I'm fairly pleased. Just kind of I feel like we're kind of in a little bit of a holding pattern. The other thing is that I'm still seeing a bunch of people, some very intelligent people, I might add, who still don't fully understand the guild currency bug. And I know we've talked about it a bunch of times. I know that we've tried to explain exactly what happens and how that happens and what's happening. Just to kind of reiterate again, we've kind of you need to spend a little bit of dark side light side energy before you just plow right into Cantina, because it always seems like the Cantina is where you're having challenges, and you always need to make sure that you're checking both the activities screen in the main Cantina, and that you're also checking the manage tab in your guild before you just go hog wild. So spend a little bit, go spend like 1, and then go look and make sure it actually came over after both of those numbers have reset to 0. I feel like a broken record. I feel like I've said this 20 times. I know it's a pain in the rear, but please try to do that so you don't get caught by this bug. And then everything resets at the guild reset, not at your personal reset anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's been like a month since that changed, but go make sure that you understand that everything is resetting on the guild reset, not on your personal reset anymore.
All right. We got any questions so far on the chat or anything like that so far?
No questions. Discussing with Duncan a little bit more about the Ezra character. So it looks like we're getting some feedback here. Duncan was saying
Sure,
that the
fire
hold 'em
away.
off ability could also add a chance to add turn meter to Ghost Crew as well.
Sure. I don't see why not.
What do you guys think about the announcement about when are they going to fix Tebow, and that the bug involves the stealth mechanic itself, so it goes to the heart of Tebow.
I know.
As to why he's bugged.
It's a pain in the ass, man.
It is a pain. The Tebow bug is so annoying.
It's beyond annoying.
So many more people would be soloing phase 1 if there wasn't that bug. And I know they've talked about it a million times. There are a lot of people that are still soloing it, but now I guess it's RNG as to whether or not you get the bug a whole bunch of times or not.
Mm-hmm.
I always get the bug. I just managed to get a little bit more of the leader ability, so I'm
Yeah.
happy with it. Update actually came out on 8.3. It actually came out before our stream on Wednesday, so we actually gave them credit for putting out the updates ahead of time. But then they forgot something important.
Oh, OBS just crashed. I just relaunched it, so everybody sees a buffering. That's why. Just fast forward a little bit. Sorry about that. It wouldn't be a Real Sith of Genius podcast stream without, some kind of little itchy bitchy thing happening.
But yeah, so they put out an update on 8.3 about the updates they were putting out on 8.5. That had to do with the strength and some of the bug fixes and those kind of things. And then, like Grande was saying, on 8.8, they put out another update because people on the forums were asking what happened with all the armor upgrades and how Stormtrooper Han and Old Ben were just not dying, and Rey was doing less damage to them, and 88 was doing nothing, and how droid squads were broken. So EA Jesse basically posted on the forums saying that he has no idea what's going on, that there was nothing in the notes that he was told about, so he was going to get back to us next week because this was all happening on a Friday. So Monday comes around and there's the 8.8 update that basically says, oh yeah, we forgot about the defense update because now strength has a bigger effect on it. After we, and I kind of like what Grande started out saying too, I still think it's a move in the right direction that they put out the update early. They put it out 2 days early. Mistakes happen and sometimes things will be forgotten. It'll happen. It's not a big deal. It just happens to be like the biggest part of the update, so it's bad in terms of optics. But I mean, overall, I'm still happy that they're giving us notification early. What do you think, Grande?
Did we lose Grande?
Grande is muted. So I'm sure he's doing something right now. But yeah,
it's the children.
So that's what happens with the update.
Cool.
Oh, yeah. The forums are all kinds of insanity right now.
Pretty much.
We were mentioning earlier. There's a bunch of people. Oh, Grande joined us when I was reading this other one, but there's so many posts lately about how the Wedge, Biggs, and Lando combo is just wreaking havoc on people. Some people are claiming that they're OP and how there needs to be nerfs to it, and how already Wedge hasn't even been made available to free to play yet. He's likely going to be at the end of the month once he's done being the free character. I'm guessing he's going to be put into Galactic War because we haven't had a character there in a little while.
Mm-hmm.
But even now, we haven't gotten the character, and people are complaining that they're OP and asking for a nerf. And there is a post by Zoe, Zooey, which I think is a really good post, basically commenting on right now, if you look in most arenas, you have so many different teams for the first time in quite a while. And I'm assuming it's a she because she has a female icon, but she basically wrote how you got Old Ben plus Stormtrooper Han as a combo. You have Anakin in Clowner squads. You have Anakin with DPS squads. You have clones. You have rebels. You have Akbar and Leia squads. You have droids, scoundrels, and now you have the Wedge, Biggs, and Lando combo. I mean, it really is actually a pretty good time in terms of PvP because there's so many different options, and it really is about having a squad to counter another squad, which I think is a really cool concept.
I agree.
All right, I'm back.
Well, welcome back.
Hey, so I speaking about PvP, I had this question that got asked to me really, really late or really, really early yesterday, and the question was, how do you get the highest rank possible in your in your PvP, spending the least amount of crystals and credits, and spending the least amount of crystals, and spending the least amount of time looking at PvP. And so I kind of wrote down a little bit as I was working through it, which, by the way, I got rank 1 today.
Yeah, I got it,
and I got it, and I get rank 1 almost every day. But I said, okay, how do we do the timing, right? And I said, you figure out what your payout time is, which for most people is 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, depending on when they started, based on daylight savings time, right? And so we figured it out that you get 5-minute battles for free, and there's a cooldown in between those battles. And so I kind of looked at the timers and tried to figure this out. Between battle 5 and battle 4, it's 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Between battle 4 and 3, it's 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Between battles 3 and battle 2, it's 7 minutes, and between battle 2 and battle 1, it's 7 minutes and 30 seconds again. So I said, okay, So if you didn't want to spend any crystals and you wanted to like just cruise into your highest spot right before you did that, it would so you'd want to take the full amount of time. That's 5 minutes times 5 battles, 25 minutes. Then you have 7.5 minutes times 3 times, and then you have an additional 7 minutes added to that, and then you add back in that 25. So at 54.5 minutes before your payout is when you need to start. So 54.5 minutes if you wanted to spend 0 crystals in your on PvP and get the highest score. To me, that seems like that you could actually create a timer then, and just spend that time on getting your highest score, and potentially you could then not have to do any refreshes and not have to do any buying of extra crystals, buying of extra battles. What are your thoughts on that particular strategy?
I think it's a sound strategy. Now, my strategy is, I get to about 15. I mean, there's so many good teams in my bracket, and I don't care how good your team is. Any team can beat any team. But when I go sometimes I can just do everything I need with my first 5 battles and be number 1. But it's competitive, so I will get knocked out sometimes. If I'm 2 or 3, I'm not going to fight, right? Because usually on my shard, I'll take 2 or 3. However, if it's really active that day, which it hasn't been in the last couple of days, I've been 1 or 2. In the past, what I did, I dropped down to 20. I used my first 5 battles to get in the top 5. But then, you're going to get hit some more. So I would use I'd use 50 crystals to refresh, because at that point, when you get into the top 5, if I'm number 6, that's 250. If I can get to number 2 or 1, that's 450 and 500. Spending 50 crystals is worth it, So I think it's where you're sitting at your rank and how, if you want to use a refresh or not. And that's kind of what I do. So,
Dutch in the chat, Harry Tasker, is saying he thought it was 10 minutes from when you start your attack. He's probably correct, actually. I'll have to do some more trial.
It's 10 minutes as soon as you start to where...
Okay.
So the way I always do it, just to make sure I keep number 1, is at about 6:50 or 53, because my payout's 7 Eastern, I'll attack somebody. Let it sit there for 5 minutes. So they usually give someone a minute something to beat my team, and that ain't happening. So you have to be a little. The last 10 minutes of the day, you just need to be proactive. I don't really, I check it once in a while here and there during the day, but I'll look, and at the end of the day, especially when I'm getting off work, I'll go and I'll check it, and if I have to make a move, I'll make a move then. But yeah, about 6:53 is when I'll attack, and that doesn't really give anybody enough time to really beat my team.
So I'm gonna maybe give a little bit more of a complicated answer to that, because
Finn, give a complicated answer?
I know, right? PvP is actually, for the question that you asked, Grande, there's actually a few parts to it that make it kind of complicated.
Okay.
So just to start off, so in terms of the timing, I'm pretty much on par with what Ranger's saying. So if you're going for number 1, right, you want to try and leave maybe 2 minutes left by the end of your battle, and you want to try and spend 5 minutes, right? So your last battle should be probably just about 7 minutes beforehand, so just around 6:53, like Ranger was saying. After that, I space out by 11 minutes, because it's 10 minutes between battles, but then it's another minute that you just want to keep in order to find an opponent sometimes, because you get that error message saying that opponent's engaged in a battle or whatever, or somebody's engaged in a battle with you. So you leave kind of that extra minute, and so I go every 11 minutes back in order to try and find the start time. So you have 6:53. If you go 11 minutes back, you're looking at 42. Then you go to 31, right? So on and so forth until it's about, I think, 18 or 19 is when you would start. So around 619 is when I would say your start, because then you'd get 619, 630, 641, 653. Oh, one more back. Right. So that's how I would set up the thing. Now, here is kind of the complicated part of what you're saying about the question, Grande. In order to get the highest rank with spending the least amount of crystals, the problem is it really depends on your server. Some people have like nobody at their payout. Other people have like 5 people that they're competing with.
Without a doubt, every server is different. Yes.
Yeah, and the unfortunate thing that I have to say is that in order to figure out how to maximize your crystals in order to get a highest rank, you unfortunately probably need to scout your server for about a week. You'll see certain people moving up the ranks, especially at the top. At certain times, you'll see them moving about 2 hours out. You'll start to see them move up. You'll see which ones are competing for the #1 spot or getting into the top 10 at certain times. The other thing is also what rank you're at that you're trying to get the highest spot. What we're saying is really for getting into the top 10, #1 spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're in the top 200, you're going to have much different challenges than at the top. At the top, you're not as competitive in terms of the number of times that you're going to be moving around slots outside of your payout time, right? Usually you'll get hit, you might drop down from, let's say 1, you might end up at 25, and then you have to kind of work your way up from mid-20s, unless your team is just really weak and just like asking to be bullseyed. If you're trying to get into the top 50, you could easily drop to number 300 overnight just because of the way it works and how many different people you're competing against. There might be an additional benefit depending on what your roster is like, what your arena team is like, if it's geared up and you're just a lower rank, that in order to get your highest rank by spending the least amount of crystals, you might want to spend one day on a non-PvP guild challenge day, because a lot of people spend extra on those days.
Totally mess it all up if you do that.
So do it on a day when it's not a guild daily challenge, and maybe spend that extra 50 crystals in order to get 10 attacks instead of 5. Because when you move up categories, you will just automatically have less people attacking you because there's less people in each of those different ranks. And the movement of those ranks will really vary, one on which rank you're in, but the other one is also the payout times of everybody on your server. So it's unfortunately a very dependent thing on who's on your server and what time they're in. So I know my answer is a little bit complicated, but I gave you guys fair warning before I started.
You did. I did have a question from somebody in the guild to ask you, Affinity. They want to know how someone who's farming Ugnaught can be trusted to give sound advice.
All right. So I am farming Ugnaught shards, but I had yet to actually put any credit into it. I had him unlocked a little while ago in order to get the achievement for the characters. So I got him in order to get some Vader shards a little while ago. He's only requires, I think, 25 for unlock, right? So he's an easy one to get unlocked in order to get that achievement. Since then, I have been collecting his shards, but the thing I will kind of caution everybody, and it's kind of become something that a lot of people are discussing now, so it's probably good to bring it up. Don't farm characters for the new raid if you don't have a good core roster to begin with. Like, Imagandi is a good character. He's not somebody you're going to use terribly often unless you have Ayla and like Kit Fisto and you have a Jedi counter team. You're not going to probably, unless you're forming a Jawa squad, even though I'm not terribly sold on the synergy of all 5 of them necessarily, but Jawa Scavenger is pretty much right now going to be an anti-droid, maybe raid character, unless your server is really filled with droid characters. Like, his purpose isn't terribly high. Dachka, not a terribly high usefulness outside of the new raid coming up. So what I'm going to say is that I have Leia, I have Stormtrooper Han, I have Akbar, I unlocked 88 and HK-47, and I was working on getting my droids up before the new raid information came out, and then I started to do Ugnaught. The droids are superior to Ugnaught. but the reason I stopped it is because
all characters are.
Yes, I will say. Well, no, I don't know about Mob Enforcer. Mob Enforcer kind of got below Ugnaught now.
He would punt. He would punt Ugnaught. He would use them as the football device.
But the thing is that the droids, the problem with the droid squad, and this is kind of why I didn't start them early to begin with, in order to get a full droid squad, you needed 2 characters out of Arena, and that just slows down your progression. Like, if there was 1 in all of the different areas, like I could get 1 from GW, which I did, 86. There was 1 in Arena, 1 from Cantina actual shards, 1 from the Cantina shipments, and 1 I could get from Energy. I could make a droid squad all kind of at the same time in parallel. 88 and HK47 were both from the same spot, so I never farmed droids for that reason. I started to work on them, and then Ugnaught seemed like he may be useful for the raid, so I just started collecting his shards because I'm still pretty far from getting a droid squad together. Not to mention that I've been farming Dengar since he came out from Guild Shipment, so I'm not getting Jawa Engineer terribly soon, so I'm in no hurry for a droid squad right now. But to give you guys an idea about the rest of my roster, I have Phasma, I have Qui-Gon, I have Rey, Leia, Stormtrooper Han, RG. Can open up my thing. I have a lot of core characters, the GS, Old Ben. So I'm at the point where I'm farming characters because I can pretty much take on most things in the game at this point. If you're not at that point, don't farm Ugnaught. It's not worth it to farm for the raid. You're better off farming for the game as a whole rather than one particular thing. So, hopefully that's enough of a reason for you guys to trust me. Are you farming Ugnaught, GP?
No, I am not farming Ugnaught. Now, I will tell you, I have Ugnaught at level 53 and gear 6. So if I needed to go for him, I could go for him. However, I have decided that I would rather go for the droids, which is where you started. I said, let's finish off the characters we have. So I went in there and I did Leia when Leia came out, and then I went back and finished off IG-88, and now I'm on the process of going back and finishing off HK-47. The main reason being that I said let's stop with the half-finished characters. Let's go back and finish the characters that are closest to being done on shards. I'm working Lando right now, and I'm working Boba Fett to finished, and then I will probably go back to whatever my next highest character is, whichever character it is, and finish them off to 100 finish them off to 7-star wherever they're at, just to get them done. So that means I will be finishing off Jawa in Cantina, and after I finish off after I finish off HK in PvP, at that point it's either go for Ugnaught or which is the next character which I have open, or go for Nebbit. And at that point, since I have 3 droids maxed, it's do you do Nebbit or do you do Ugnaught? And I think I'll probably go Nebbit and leave Ugnaught alone. Just because once again, Nebbit can do 2 things for me. He can help me with the crit chance mod challenge, and he potentially could be good for the new raid.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm going right now. So what I'm working on right now, just for everybody out there, working on Empire. So I've got the Toon 7-star that I need. The only one I don't have is Snowtrooper. I'm working on him, getting him from Guild and doing his node. Also still working on my first order team, but for all the GW and PvP and everything else like that, still working on Jawa, and then I'm working on the other 2 Jawas from those. I'm working on Dashka and the other guy, Chief Nebbit,
sitting at 10 of 100 on Dashka.
Yeah.
And then
I can promote him right now. 5.
It's gonna be blasphemous for Affinity. I'll probably go to Magna Trooper to work on my Empire team. Yeah. Before I go Tusken Raider, because even though Tusken Raider is huge DPS.
He's huge.
Tusken Raider, huge DPS. Right now, there's no tribal synergy for for Tuskens. So I'll wait and leave him for last.
Yeah.
And then at that point, I'm done in Galactic War. So now it's the big. Then it would be the big farm for Grievous.
Yeah. I mean, I've got pretty much the scoundrels I need. I just need to get Han up. And then I've got Biggs. He's at 7 stars. I can promote him now and start gearing him. But I'm going to do Empire first because I really want those potency mods. So you can see I've got Tarkin, Vader with the gear they need. I've got Magma Trooper. Of course, I already had Royal Guard. And then I'll add Snow Trooper and then go in there. And I clear the first mod challenge. But I got to get these guys up level and geared. So that's kind of my focus now. And then I'll work on Jawas. I'm still working First Order team, man. I'm gonna get it just to say I have it.
After Boba Fett, I'll probably go back for Poe.
I never did. Yeah, I never did finish. I may do Poe afterwards because let's see. I'm doing First Order officer. Stormtrooper. Since I already have Royal Guard, I already got a tank, and he's kind of a tanky character. That's why I didn't go for him. If I'm looking at it, I could finish Ahsoka. If I wanted to right now, I could go Hoth Rebel Scalp. I really don't need to since I'm already getting Han Solo, from the raids. So I'm going to do First Order officer, and then maybe I may do Scavenger. I may do Scavenger next because I really don't need Ahsoka. I've got a buttload of Jedi because I'm doing Amagundi's Cantina battles. He's the one I'm actually working on in Cantina battles, and then really the thing I have left in GW is Dotchka, Tusken Raider, but he's the last one I need. I've farmed all these other ones, and then in PvP, I've got Han, I've got Leia, I've got Tarkin done, I have IG-88 done, I have Akbar done, Ethkos done, Sidious is done. So really, it's just a couple that I. Maybe when I get done with Chief Nebbit, which is going pretty well, maybe I'll finish Ventress. Why not?
I love Ventress.
I know you do. She's actually a pretty good character. I disagree with a lot of people. I like her. I like her abilities. That debuff that she does, it's pretty nice. Sweet. It is nice.
So I have a maxed out Ventress. I will tell you, she was very easy to gear, even with raid pieces. And there are 2 people in Team Skunk Omega that run an Asajj Ventress lead with a DACA Royal Guard stun team, and because she's the speed leader for Night Sisters, that tends to work out pretty good. Yeah,
I mean, I think she's a good character. Now we've done videos. If you want, we have done a video for. If you want to check out, if you're a new player and you want to know how all this works and players that we recommend. Characters we recommend for which one, whether it's Galactic War and how everything works. We have check it out.
Saturdays ago we
did that. So I know Finn, you were planning on kind of breaking those up a little bit. I know you haven't had time, but are we still doing that? Where we're going to break them up and put them into segments for each of the kiddies out there.
I've been that video a lot. Because literally, it was every button you could click in the entire game. I mean, it
was a 2-hour stream.
It was insane.
We broke it down, man.
Yeah, we'll definitely work on making it into smaller pieces. I have to go back. We did spend a good amount of time going through everything. I'm going to put the time tags in the descriptions at the very least before we start splitting them out. But
that's fine.
But to kind of give you guys an idea then of what I'm doing in terms of my characters at this point, I had 2 characters I was working on, which was Imagundi and Dengar. I got them to level 80. No. So I got Dengar and I got Imagundi up to level 80. I'm working on their gear. I am just hoarding credits at this point.
Dengar. That
is a good tune.
With the tenacity down, a lot of people. Loving that character. I guess I could farm Dengar. Then it makes your lower potency a little bit better.
like having characters that have a different skill set. There's nobody
Yes.
else that does that in the game. So as soon as I saw him, I'm like, I have to get him because he can fit into any group. I was working on Jawa Engineer, but he's very droid focused.
Yeah.
Dengar, I can pretty much fit into any group and any composition, which is kind of what my roster is.
It's the utility
not-
character again. It's the
Exactly.
same. It's the utility character. Yeah.
Exactly. So I leveled up Dengar and I leveled up Imagundi. Everybody else is getting shards. I am not spending a single credit on anybody else. So I am currently at 4 million credits. I'm going to just keep on accumulating them until the new raid comes out and I have a better idea of where I want to spend it.
No, that's not a bad
smart.
idea.
That's smart. Let somebody else figure out what the new meta is for the new raid.
Exactly.
I mean, I got Resistance Pilot. I got a ton of people that I could that are like 7 stars that I could do something with right now. So that's not a bad idea. I mean, but doing the Jawas and some of these other tunes, I could easily. That's not a bad idea, Finn. I may just do that.
I will tell you though, I mean, I had to let my obsessive compulsive disorder go a long time ago with getting rid of all the red circles.
Oh yeah, that crap doesn't bother me.
I'm just gonna have red circles on people, and that's
it's fine. Like I don't care about Han's leader ability. I don't care about Leia's. I'm not gonna, why? I still got characters coming up that I can use them on. If I'm going to use them as a leader potentially, then I'll do the dirty and hook them up.
Omega the leader ability.
Yeah,
but if you're not going to ever use them, it's much better to look at Omegaing their basic or their specials or their uniques.
Yeah, here's a character you should
or putting purples on them for that matter.
I'm gonna tell you guys
a
character you guys should really be focusing on if you don't have him is Anakin. I gotta tell you, man, the rework they did on him and how he is right now, he is a badass character to have. What a great character. I mean, I had started him a while back just because I liked the character, but when they redid some of his stuff, he is an incredible piece to any team. Yes.
That character should be good. He's so pivotal. That sounds terrible. So pivotal to the storyline. He should be a good character.
Yeah, but I mean, the one thing that's like his basic, you can see I have it maxed out. 70% chance to inflict healing and buff immunity for two turns, and I put a bunch of potency on his ass too. Talk about not letting your tanks taunt. Let him hit them with his first turn. And you can just go to town on any tune you want, and the reason I run him and Qui-Gon is Anakin goes in and, let's say you run a double taunt. Well, I go hit one of the tanks, they're not able to taunt. The other one taunts, say Royal Guard, and I've got Qui-Gon, so he'll remove that, and I can just keep on beating on Rey and the rest of the tunes. He's great against Sunfac. He's great against tanks, and when you get characters below 50%. And you AoE, look out. He hits like a truck. And he's unbelievable. He has great clone synergy. He's got a great leader ability. Look at that. When any ally falls below 50% health or is defeated, Anakin gains 100% 2 meter, and his next attack deals 75% more damage. That's why he's so just incredible. You think Lando's AoE is something? Wait till you get someone low and he AoEs. He'll smoke your team, man. He is an incredible piece. So that's one of the characters I'm really right now saying you should really, if you don't have him, get him. He's incredible. I mean, he's made my easily top 10 characters you should have on your roster.
You can see that from the meta. You can see that from the metadata as well. Mm-hmm. He can either just on the team because of all the turn meter and the AoE.
Oh, so good. He is so good. He really is. Han, Super Stormtrooper Han, another character I highly recommend. Especially when you get him geared.
I just got him.
Oh my God. Grande, gear him out. Priority, man. That turn meter he gets for hits.
80 and Omega. I mean.
Yeah. I haven't done his draw fire yet, but I will next. But it just it makes his taunt one less. But it's good because I wanted to get the other two maxed out. But giving the turn meter to your team, man, that is an incredible ability. You hit Han, you're giving that team turn meter. So, I mean, he's a great piece to have. oh Lord, he's a great one to get. Qui-Gon, of course, is still such a great character, and when you get his second ability Omega to his assist, and that heal comes in, awesome ability. Royal Guard still is a great character to get. I love Royal Guard. If you haven't, I'm gonna finish him next. Ray is still Ray. Phasma's another one. I mean, those characters are really good. Fives is actually a pretty decent character still now too. That his ability maxed out where he can just keep attacking if they have speed down. It's pretty nice. I mean, I've faced some fives where it's like he's a nightmare, man. He just keeps hitting you and hitting you and hitting you. You're like, stop!
And he got a buff with the strength.
Yes.
He got a buff with the strength.
This sucker's next, man. Add extra attack, target suffering speed down. I mean, he just, woo! He's a nice piece too. I haven't quite finished him. I just got him to where he is right now, but not a priority. But I will get him up. But he's a nice piece. Finn, anything that we don't know what you're working on. Running into those pieces that you have or tunes that you're working on.
I hate you so much.
Why? You said you didn't do anything but just getting credits and... Okay, go ahead, Finn.
Yeah, but I am farming shards. I can tell you the characters I'm farming shards for.
Besides Ugnaught, who are you farming?
It's Hard No Day. He should be farming everyone.
Yeah. But you know how I roll, Grande. So
Yeah.
I have 3 characters I'm farming from Energy, which is Anakin, like you mentioned, Imagundi, and Ewok Scout. So I'm getting close to finishing Ewok Scout. I have some of the harder characters lined up to go next. So it's actually Hoth Rebel Soldier, First Order TIE Pilot, and First Order Stormtrooper are the next 3 up in Energy that I'm going to start farming.
Yeah, I'm working on First Order Stormtrooper. He's a good piece to have, but I'm doing a First Order team.
And then in Cantina Battles, I'm farming Imagundi. He's almost done too, so he's probably going to be the first energy node that I'm going to stop. From Shipments, I'm getting shards for Jawa Scavenger. So I've already started on him in prep for the raid. As soon as he's done, though, I'm going back to Boba Fett and finishing him off. So it's Scavenger, then Boba Fett, then Daka for me in terms of finishing off Shipment characters. And Galactic War. So this is actually something interesting. I got asked this in the guild chat before, so it's actually an interesting idea. If you have a lot of the standard GW characters and you're trying to figure out who to get next, the 2 that I was asked about was Cad Bane versus Biggs, and which one would you farm? So I'll ask Grande. I'll get your opinion too, because I know you've done some with Galactic War 2. My personal opinion is to go with Biggs. The reason is that, like I mentioned with Arena earlier, and why I didn't farm droids, because you needed 2 characters in order to get there.
Mm-hmm.
You're kind of hedging your bet on both of these characters. With Biggs, you're kind of hedging your bet on whether or not Wedge is going to be easily accessible. He's going to be introduced somewhere for all people to access once this month is up. But in order to get Biggs useful, you need to get Wedge. So you have to farm that second character. Cad Bane is a risk because he's been rumored to be getting a rework soon. Boba Fett is the one that's been confirmed, but nothing yet quite on Cad Bane to say officially that I've seen that he's getting a rework. So you're kind of getting Cad Bane with that bet. The reason I'm saying Biggs is because I think Wedge is probably going to go in Galactic War, and once he gets in there, if you're trying to farm the Wedge-Biggs combo, you don't want to have to farm 2 characters. So I think it's better to farm Biggs now. Hopefully Wedge ends up in Galactic War, then you can farm Wedge with all your tokens afterwards. Otherwise, you can go back to Cad Bane anyways, and you haven't lost any speed. So I would recommend going Biggs over Cad Bane if you're deciding between those 2. What about you, Grande?
I have a level 80 Biggs that basically I'm waiting on stun cups to get him to gear 9. I got him stuck at gear 8. I already gave him a furnace. Once again, it goes back to, do you need another rebel character or not? Do we think that Wedge is going to go somewhere where it will be easy to get him? I know a lot of people are thinking Biggs potentially is going to go Maybe into the dark side, level 8, node 8B on dark side. That they think that would be a good position to have Biggs in, because we haven't seen a character added to light side dark side battles, and potentially that would be the last one. Besides I think there's a dark side 1A that doesn't have a character in that location. I could see that. Very possibly. And I think that would be okay. He would be a hard farm at that point. He'd have one node. He'd be like Hoth Rebel Soldier.
Yeah.
I think that people that have Biggs already and that paid money for him would be content.
You mean Wedge?
I'm sorry. People that already have Wedge and paid money for Wedge would be happy with that location. But he'll probably go to Cantina. He'll probably go on a Cantina node. Just to be totally honest.
Yeah.
That's probably where it'll go. Who knows? We'll have to see.
Yeah, my thought with GW is just because they introduced Ayla recently into Cantina nodes. They just introduced all the Jawas into arena shipments and Cantina shipments, and then you had Dengar recently in the guild shipments. It seems like Galactic War is overdue, but you're right also that the energy nodes is also pretty much overdue for a new character. So that would be an interesting one if he's a single node character.
Nice. So is there any questions from the chat? Any other questions?
Supreme Serial Sith asked, did they remove Biggs from GW? And Affinity already answered that, which is no. They did not.
Cyril's the man. He's the man.
Riemann asked a question.
Riemann! All right.
So Riemann asked a question and Blaine asked a question. So let me go. I think Blaine asked first, so let me go with Blaine. He asked, when was Savage ever great? Because they were talking about when characters that everybody likes, that's kind of their vanity characters. So GP has Ventress, mine is Savage Opress. And he was asking when Savage was actually good. Mm-hmm. I actually liked Savage when I first played. At the beginning, when I first started playing, so this was back in January, Savage was like the greatest character to start off playing. Every time he got hit, he would gain offense and defense up. He was, I think, classified as a tank at the beginning, but he did so much damage. He was always at the top, and at that time, I wasn't using GG, I was using SWGOH Cantina.com, which has since kind of expired. But his damage for basic attacks was always at the top. And then you had the massive damage that he does on his special. He was actually really good at the beginning. I loved him. He got me through so much on the dark side battles. Problem came with him when Qui-Gon Jinn became accessible in Cantina shipments. As soon as Qui-Gon became a readily available character, the buffs that Savage got that I thought were awesome became a huge liability. Because every time he got a buff, Qui-Gon would dispel and then the entire team got offense up. It was awful for a good month because he was on my arena squad and it was chaos there for a little while. I had to start farming other characters and bring them up, but yeah, he was good at the beginning when we first started.
Yeah, I would. You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see a Darth Maul Savage Opress synergy, similar to the Wedge Biggs synergy. In fact, that's probably a more important synergy that you would see than the Wedge Biggs kind of duo. What do you guys think about that?
Cool.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
I mean, to me, if we're talking synergies, that's probably where it needs to go.
I'm still hoping they create some extra synergy stuff when they introduce Palpatine and a Yoda-like event for Empire and Sith characters.
Yeah.
That's still my hope.
And what was the other question?
So Riemann was asking, Raymond, I'll say it right now. So Raymond was asking, what should you be doing with GW tokens if you already have all of the characters?
Save.
So obviously, yeah. So this is obviously going to be like a pay-to-play character, a pay-to-play player that has all of the tokens already and what you plan on doing with it. Because I imagine, and I know he does, you already have Grievous kind of up and ready. They will be constantly introducing characters into the game in GW, so there's no reason to spend it. If you don't have Grievous, go ahead and cash them in and start getting them unless you're expecting a character to come out. But I would say just hold on to it because you're going to have periodically characters coming into GW and you're better off just saving for it.
I think so. I mean, I'm just working on the characters because why not? You know? I mean, not going to hurt anything.
All right. I think this has probably become our longest stream here, so probably a good time to start wrapping it up for us.
Yes, it is. So, let me pull up the panel. And first of all, thanks to everybody that came to the stream tonight. We really appreciate your support. Hey, get the word out, guys. Real Sith of Genius, subscribe, all that stuff. You can see on the panel. You know, we really appreciate you guys being here tonight, hanging out with us. You know, listening to us banter on about, so I always say I'm dumb, but I'm dumb. Special thanks to Mr. Grande Patrana for joining us on the streams. Thanks for showing up, Betty. Did he disappear? Son of a... Yes, he's all... All right, Finn,
He's a mysterious
tell the
man.
folks where they can check us out.
All right. So if you look in the description, I have a few links there for you guys to check out. So there's a link to our YouTube channel. Please go ahead and subscribe. You guys will get updates. We tend to put the event notification up about 2 days before our actual streams. We stream Wednesdays at 8 p.m. pretty much weekly. So please subscribe to us.
God damn it. Unbelievable. All right, we're back and going. Say do it again.
And just like a real Sith of Genius stream, we had a little technical glitch there. So we have our website, realsithofgenius.blogspot.com. After our stream here, I'm going to go ahead and put the image of Ezra, who is our character creation of the week. I'm gonna put him on the website so you guys can look over him. And Duncan gave us some ideas on his abilities also. So if you guys have any feedback, put some comments in our video, or you can go ahead and comment on our website. We have the link to the Rebel Base Discord, which will have the after party in. So if you guys want to come and chat with us, we'll be there for a little while.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, I'll be there. Ranger might just bail on you guys, but I won't bail.
Says the man who farms Ugnon. How dare you, sir? Son of a bitch.
We also have our Facebook and Twitter pages. We're starting to update those a little bit more. You'll get some notifications on when we post new content. Yep. So when we put up some new content, you guys will be able to see that. So we're trying to get a little bit better about whatever notification method you guys want. So please subscribe. Please like the video if you liked it. You have to put the end screen up, Ranger.
I did.
GW.
Oh. God dang it. It switched. God damn it.
And it had such a nice image there too.
I know. I thought it was up there. See?
No, we're watching you fight Tebow.
I know.
You hear that, Ewokin? Tebow. Tebow.
Jedi. All right. I think we've lost our minds now. So, hey, everybody, thanks for coming out. We'll be on next Wednesday. Tell your homies about us. And this is Real Sith of Genius signing out. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for showing up. Appreciate you.